Hi, and welcome to another episode of Your Dad's Evil Tips. Today, we have some good news. First of all, Shalat got his computer back, and I'm your evil boyfriend.
What's up, guys? I'm your dad's lit. I finally got my computer back. Well, at least one of my computers. And yeah, it's a good day. My graphics card was shitty, so I got a new one on warranty, and I'm back in business.
That's what was wrong with your computer, your graphics card.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about how to not to get wrecked by Splice when trying to sign a record to a label, or when you're just trying to use a vocal from Splice and you're wondering how come I'm not getting streams, so how come people are asking me to just sign my song, but nothing's happening. Yeah, so before we do anything, just remember, like, share, save, subscribe, send it to your dog so you can show it to the pack, and then we can join the wolf pack.
Yeah.
So a couple of things. So if this is the first time you're watching us, I'm an A&R label. I also work with other labels, helping with like ideas for marketing for like building community or whatever. And I'm an idiot, so you should definitely listen to me. So let's talk about Splice. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with Splice and what it is. And if you don't know what Splice is basically a subscription service that is really good for music makers, that basically gives you access to a gigantic library of different sounds, drums, textures, basses, vocals, fuck it, you name it. And it's great for like sample flipping or whatever, or like just looking for a sound that you need. So for example, you're working on a track and you're like, man, I kind of want like an interesting bass. So you go in there and download something and you can like obviously get your song to the next level. Now, Splice is great and all. The problem with Splice is that a lot of the vocals in Splice are really good, and because they're really good, a lot of people are wanting to use them in their tracks. Now, if you're the first person to use that vocal on the track and your song comes out before everybody else, then awesome. When somebody Shazams that song and the verse of that vocal is there, people are going to be like, okay, it's this vocal belongs to this producer, and then people are going to be like, oh, this is awesome. And if you're like number 10, then when somebody Shazams your song, your song's not going to populate on Shazam, or it's going to be pretty hard to find where it is. Or look, you got a lot of tracks that are going to end up with the same title that sound exactly the same, and it's basically just going to be like a big like remix, but that's not going to say remix on the track, so people are just going to get confused about exactly what's going on. So yeah, that's why you should be very careful with using vocal from Shazam. Now, Shalad, what else can you say about that?
The vocals from Splice.
Yeah, or any sample pack in reality.
Yeah, I mean, I think just in general, if you're going to use those vocal sample packs, you generally do want to make it kind of want to manipulate the sounds and make it more unique. I know it's super easy to like find a good vocal and then just like throw it in your track, but you know, if you can cut it up or give it like a new like identity, just like be creative with it, then it's usually a lot better in the long run. There's like a lot of pretty popular sample packs, like Zen World. You've probably heard like artists like Matroda. He uses a lot of his sample packs. So if like you were going to use those sample packs like yourself, people would probably just think you're doing like a sound like remix of that song, because they are like readily available and pretty easy to find. But yeah, like just in general, you should try to do a little bit more with the vocals, in my opinion. Yeah, saves you a lot of trouble in the long run as well.
Yeah, so like one way to like actually be creative with them, you can literally just put the vocal in Melodyne and change the key of it. Just change the performance of the vocal, even though the words are going to be the same. But if you change the key of it, like one note, you can just be like, oh, okay, now it goes like this, and it's not the same anymore, right? Let's talk about a little bit of like why you should be worried, or not worried, but just be very weary of using a vocal from from Splice or any sort of like sound bank library. So I actually made a post about this on Facebook. What's it called? Like YouTube and other DSPs don't really care if they're royalty free. So what happens is that if YouTube, for some reason, when you upload your track, it's gonna be like, yo, this track is from somewhere else, and they might do a copyright claim, and you might be like, yo, but fam, like this vocals like royalty free. Why you messing with me? They're like, oh, prove it, and then that's gonna mess up your release date. The DSP or like example like Spotify, Apple Music can be like, yo, can you prove that this is actually like you own rights to this or like it's copyright free? So you might have to send them screenshots. If the distributor is slow, then that might even delay your upload to the DSPs. That might delay your pitching. So I mean, anything that could basically kind of put you in a weird situation is like, yeah, is this copyright free? It's like, I mean, it is, but it's not, because if somebody already used it, technically, like, you're gonna be in the situation where you have to prove that the vocals royalty free or whatever. This can cause some delays and shit, and basically the label begins to hate you, and you're kind of just like, why do you do this, man? Why do you do this? So that's also a problem. Let me see, what else did I write? I also wrote that, oh yeah, when you're pitching songs to like to curators or whatever, if the vocal's too popular, what's gonna happen is like, oh yeah, I actually heard this track before, just with a different beat. No, thank you, I already heard it 20 times. So can you imagine that? That could be a nightmare, right? You're like, oh yeah, like I already heard, like for example, like what's the song that gets remixed nonstop? Show Me Love.
Yeah.
Like how many times are they gonna make a remix? Like it's cool, right? But it's just like, yo, like do
And even,
something else with
especially
it.
as like producers, if you're on Splice enough, you're literally gonna hear so many vocal samples. Like whenever I hear music being released now, like I immediately know where it's from because it's like, oh, I heard that on Splice when I was listening for music. Like I literally heard that like a bunch of times. Like everyone's gonna use those samples, especially if they're good samples.
Yeah, this is just, we're just talking especially for vocals, right? Like you can use drums,
Yeah,
like
and
basses, leads.
it's well, especially it's even more recognizable for vocals. Like you're gonna know immediately where that's from.
Yeah.
So
Um,
I probably encourage people to like try to do their own vocals, especially in certain genres. Like a lot of the vocals, you don't even need to sing. It's just like you're saying a phrase, and then it's just processing the phrase after you say it and record it.
you can literally just be like, set my name,
Yeah,
set my name, and then you just pitch it down so you sound more manly. There you go, you get a banger.
yeah. It's like a lot of like for I'll use Zenworld again as the example. It has a sample pack of him doing like G House vocals, but at the same time, he literally has tutorials on how to make G House vocals. Like they're not insanely good G House vocals. He just knows how to process them. He knows
Yeah.
the vocal chain, processing chain to do it.
Mm.
So you can get creative with it.
Yeah. Also, imagine if you're pitching the song to a label and the labels has heard this vocal many times, they might be like, yo, dude, like, can't release this. Like, heard it too many times. Like, for example, for me, whenever I hear a cool demo, the first question I ask before I even get myself acquainted with the artist, I'm just like, where's this vocal from? If they say splice or whatever, then I'll be like, can you get an original vocal? Because otherwise you can't release it unlifted. And if it is from splice, and if they're really adamant about releasing it with the splice vocal, I'll be like, okay, can I hear the original? And if it sounds exactly the same, I will pass on the track. If they at least show me that they tried to do something interesting with it, then I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe we can do something with it. But yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
This is from Diego, who literally used to fucking make whole songs out of splice vocals.
yeah. And I'll get
So
wrecked.
this is something very dear to his heart, but he's changed his ways.
Yeah, no, I would literally just use the vocals from Splice, and then we'd just be like, yeah, when this gets signed, and then the one day I had to get an original vocal. That's the day I get signed. I'm just like,
Yeah.
literally a year, guys, a year of just using like vocals from Splice and just like nobody liking my music. And then the day I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna get a higher professional singer, and then got signed, back to the start. So
Yeah.
let's maybe, what kind of how to do you want to do today? Like how to hire a singer. So literally just go on YouTube. No, sorry. Yeah, you can go on YouTube and just be like a particular song that's popping right now, parenthesis, cover. And if you like how they sing, you can DM on Instagram and just be like, yo, bro, love your voice. Can we collab? Right. You can also like go on SoundCloud and type in hashtag unsigned. And you're gonna hear a lot of unsigned music. Some of them is really early in their career. And then other ones are just like amazing. You're just surprised, like, why are you not signed? So you can go that way. You can go on Instagram and just maybe go to a record label and see if any new singer from there just appeared out of nowhere, and then like you like how they sound. You can DM on Instagram. You can actually hire them. You gotta go to a website called vocalizer.com, in which you can hire singers, but they're kind of like bits. It's kind of like song eBay. So what you do is you put your beat and you're like, but you put your budget, but they don't know, and then artists start bidding on it, like singers. So it's like, oh, 300, 400. I'll do it for $20. And then you can see their work and you can be like, all right, well, I like what this person does, so I could probably hire them for like the price that they suggested. And then you can talk about like royalties and splits and whatever and all that. Sound vocalizer is actually decent, but the amount of talent available on that website is not, I don't want to say it's not high. I'm just saying there's not that many people on it compared to like a website like soundbetter.com, which is actually what I use a lot more than Vocalizer. Vocalizer is good. It's just like there is not the amount of like really high quality singers. It's not as many that there is available on Soundbetter. So on Soundbetter, it's you just post a job and then people will like propose shit to you. And then you can set up a budget in a sense. It can be like, I want like a cheap vocal, I want like a medium vocal, and or I want like professional shit that's gonna cost me an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
So ways that you can do that, and you can literally tell them, well, like, yo, I'm looking for the song, kind of sounds like this, or like give them a reference. Like you can talk about however you want your song to come out with the singer or rapper or whatever. So
Yeah. It's the only thing that might be bad with Sound Better is that you're gonna get a lot of the same vocalists a lot of the times. So if you want to find like crazy new talent, it's not as as many people. Like there's just certain people that kind of dominate certain price ranges and stuff and sound better. Or
yeah,
yeah.
that's true, but you can also like you can just change the type of budget that you're in. You can literally just go like cheap shit, and sometimes you find gold.
Yeah.
So then there's also stuff that's like might be outside of your price range. For example, I tried to hire this one girl once, and with my buddy from what's it called, that we have a song coming out in February, and I DM'd her and she said she was gonna check out the song, and then she didn't even check in and she already sent me a price, and I'm just like, you haven't even like checked out the song and you're already giving me a price, which is fine, I guess, but like I was kind of like, well, do you want to work on this or are you just trying to get paid, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like whoever, just with anything in music, just like if you vibe with the person, then obviously pursue. If you not vibe even with this person, then maybe ignore or move on. It's whatever. Because they're gonna do the same to you anyway. So
Yeah.
the advantage though when you're paying is that you can say no to people and they can't be mad at you because it's whatever.
Yeah. I guess one advice we could probably say is that you are gonna have to get really good at vocal mixing.
Unless the
Yeah.
vocalist is really good at what they do.
Yeah, which is very rare.
No. Like oh, like actually just mixing. Yeah, like most
Well,
vocal singers can
mixing,
mix.
timing, like a lot of the vocalists aren't gonna time, like they're not gonna go in and like they're just gonna record it raw and send you the stems, and then you're gonna have to do everything. So just be prepared for that. Like if you do go in like splice and stuff, it's usually already pretty well quantized and well processed. Well, if you hire somebody, you generally have to do a lot of the work, which is a good thing because you're gonna get better. But you might be surprised how much stuff you do have to do when you do get stems from the singer if you do pay for it.
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah.
I've worked with one particular person that I never released the song, but that song basically was expensive to get her vocals, and it was just a mess to
Yeah.
like work on it. And I saw Charlotte, and I was just like, dude, what the hell is this? Why did I just pay $100 for this?
Yeah.
So while there's other vocals that I have that like not that expensive and they're just good. They're just straight good.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's a
Rambo.
good thing to think about because, like, especially too, when you're listening to demos on Sound Better, you're not necessarily listening to what they did. You're just seeing what project they were on. They probably didn't mix that song. They didn't do everything. So
Hmm.
there's like a lot of kind of small details that might be like left out until you pay and get the stems. But
Yeah.
again,
Word
that's
of advice.
yeah,
If you can get the singer to sing on time,
yeah,
that would be for I would rather tune than adjust timing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Timing is a big one.
Timing's kind of annoying. And sometimes you may see here you work with singers. So for example, like the song that I have coming out in October, Brian, bro, he's so good on being on time that like even if I'm just like if I like did something I'm just like a little bit off, he'll be like, yo, what the fuck's that? Like you're like off time. I'm just like, whoa, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think that concludes my around our rant about splice vocals. Use them, but just be wary of the verses. And if you want to get signed to a label, I would consider maybe using them as a primer and then finding an original singer.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, like it isn't necessarily the small people using the splice vocals. Just once you hear someone big use those vocals, consider another one because it's
Yeah, it's
hard to
over.
differentiate yourself,
No, it's over.
especially
Like
with
if
like the
Nicky
Zenro
Romero,
ones. There's a lot of people using those ones
yeah,
or
like
just splice shit. Like, um, oh, there's a pretty big Diplo one. There's like
Diplo use Splice? Really? With his amount of
Diplo.
money?
On my
What?
mind.
Okay.
You know that song?
No,
Ooh.
I would have
I
to
don't know.
listen to it later.
It's like on my mind. There's a vocal in the beginning that kind of is like it's like a choir. It's like ooh. That's a splice vocal. Like I first time I heard that, I was like, what the fuck, Diplo? that's like that's
That's
like
okay though.
that's like the top 20 vocal. Like if you looked up vocals on Splice, that's literally like top 20 vocals you would find. But
Yeah, but I
just
think
like
it's
remember
fine.
that, like that's gonna be on Splice, and if you use that, it's gonna might fuck you over.
I think that's fine, guys. I think
Yeah,
this just might be like an opinion shot. I just know that with verses is a problem because all major labels look at this samples for like a pad. Unless like that vocal is like a big hook, then yeah, obviously, yeah, 100% right. That's a problem.
yeah,
Yeah, I would have to listen to this song now. But yeah, guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, send it to a friend, especially if it's a producer and it keeps using splice vocals, and you're just like, bro, this is why you're not getting signed. And you know why?
yeah. And when you're famous, guys, drop our names in a song, and we'll love you forever.
Yeah. Cool, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Don't kill yourself.
Do not kill yourself.